Alors, bonsoir tout le monde. Welcome everybody to this first meeting of spring. I think we can say that tonight. So welcome to this April meeting of the Town Council. Alors, bienvenue à cette soirée. Juste avant de commencer, je souligne la présence du représentant de notre poste de quartier 24, lieutenant Rodrigue. Merci beaucoup d'être là. Sinon, je demande l'adoption de l'ordre du jour. Madame Minziam-Letty.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Je me propose d'adopter l'ordre du jour de la séance ordinaire du conseil du 23 avril 2018 et ce sous réservé de retirer le point 15.
Parfait. Donc, on propose l'adoption de l'ordre du jour.
J'appuie.
Merci. Sans le point 15. So, we're taking out the item number 15 of the agenda. Est-ce que... je vais demander le vote. Merci. So, here we are. So, we're now item number 3. Question period. Your question needs to be related to the agenda. Est-ce qu'on a des questions? Parfait. On est rendu au point 4. Le point 4, l'adoption du procès-verbal de la dernière réunion. Madame Minziam-Letty.
I move to adopt the minutes of the council regular meeting of March 26, 2018.
I'll second that motion.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Le point 5, Maître Alexandre Verdi, dépôt des documents.
Oui, donc ce soir, nous déposons en premier un rapport d'activité du trésorier sur les élections et référendums, le rapport financier 2017, les résultats des registres de règlement d'emprunt numéro E0802-1 ainsi que E1003-1. Nous déposons la liste des achats sans émission de bons de commande, la liste des commandes de moins de 10 000 $, celle de moins de 25 000 $, la liste des chèques et dépôts directs, un rapport du service des ressources humaines et la liste des permis et certificats émis au cours du mois de mars.
Merci beaucoup. Comme Maître Verdi l'a mentionné, on dépose le rapport financier 2017. Alors, je vous ai préparé un petit survol de ce rapport-là, histoire de vous expliquer un peu comment s'est déroulée l'année 2017. So, we just present to you the financial result of last year. So here are the big highlight of last year's financial results. So, donc pour l'année 2017, on termine l'année donc avec un surplus de 6,658 millions, donc 6,6 millions, ce qui représente à peu près 7,5% de notre budget. C'est quelque chose d'assez conservateur. Ce surplus-là est attribuable essentiellement à des revenus supérieurs combinés à des économies au niveau des dépenses de fonctionnement. So overall, operating revenue total 89.1 million this year, 2.5 million more than forecast in the 2017 budget. This increase is due largely to additional revenue generated by real estate and transfer tax, the taxation of new housing unit, and the change in property values. Donc, c'est essentiellement une très, très bonne nouvelle. Les dépenses, de leur côté, se sont avérées, comme je disais, moindres que prévu. En effet, les charges de fonctionnement et de financement sont de 85,1 millions seulement, donc en baisse de 5 millions de ce qui avait été budgété en 2017. Town operating expense, which were less than budgeted for, were another factor contributing to the positive result for 2017. Specifically, operating and financing expenses total 85 million, 5 million less than the 2017 budget forecast. Toutefois, il faut noter qu'à la suite de changements législatifs adoptés par le gouvernement du Québec dans le calcul de la quote-part que Montréal doit verser à l'agglomération de Montréal, il y a eu une dépense supplémentaire de 885 000 $. So that's for the budget. Let's talk about the debt. So the TMR debt is now, as of December 31st, 2017, was at 30.6 million. Last year, so the year before was 29.5. So we passed from 29.5 to 30.6 million. Donc la dette a augmenté de 29,5 à 30,6. Ce qui est assez remarquable dans le contexte où l'année passée, en 2017, on a fait énormément d'investissements dans nos infrastructures. On parle de 7 millions de dollars. On se rappelle qu'on était à finir le viaduc Rockland, on était à finir la passerelle, on a investi beaucoup dans les rues et les parcs. Alors, c'est un excellent résultat. Et quant aux réserves financières et réservées, donc vous savez qu'on avait de l'argent de côté actuellement, nos réserves et nos excédents financiers ont passé de 29,1 en 2016 à 31,4. So we have now, as accumulated surplus financial reserve and reserve fund, a total of $31.4 million. So it's, I think, well, I'm quite sure that this is the first time since a few years that we have more reserve, more surplus than debt. So that's a very, very good news and show how stable the finance of the town are. So, at the end of fiscal 2017, as work soon to begin on major projects, not the least of them the Future Sport and Community Center, TMR has once again demonstrated the solidity of its financial position. Long year of disciplined management and judicious planning continue to support the high-quality standards of our garden city. Sans grande surprise, de longues années d'une saine rigueur et d'une prévoyance fort bien avisée continuent d'alimenter les standards de qualité de notre cité-jardin. Il en va de la confiance et de l'optimisme avec lequel la Ville peut résolument tourner son regard vers l'avenir et envisager d'importants projets au bénéfice de tous. Alors voilà, c'était un résumé de notre rapport financier 2017. Nous sommes maintenant au point 6, so item number 6, and I'm going to ask Mme Michel cette la
Oui, alors ce n'est rien de nouveau. Depuis plusieurs années, notre Ville fait des demandes annuelles auprès du gouvernement provincial pour obtenir de l'aide financière auprès du ministère de la Culture et des Communications pour le développement des collections de notre bibliothèque. La demande de subvention doit être accompagnée d'une résolution du conseil et également la résolution doit confirmer que la Ville est d'accord pour financer la subvention. Alors, dans ce contexte, I move to authorize the submission of a grant application to the Ministère de la Culture et des Communications du Québec as part of the program called Aide au projet, volet appel des projets en développement des collections des bibliothèques publiques autonomes for the fiscal year 2018, to authorize Mr. Denis Chouinard, Head of Division Library, or in his absence, Mr. Kevin Whitehall, Director of the Recreation, Culture and Community Activities Department, to complete all documents required for this application, including the grant agreement to be made with the Ministère de la Culture et des Communications, and to authorize Mrs. Ava Couch, Director General, to sign the pertinent documents related to this request. And finally, to confirm that the Town of Mont-Royal agrees to finance the total amount of planned expenditures for the acquisition of the library books, including the portion corresponding to the grant that will be allocated by the ministry.
I second.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Maintenant, le point 7, vente à l'encan. Maître Dawa.
Alors, la ville détient plusieurs biens qui ne sont plus utiles et elle souhaite s'en débarrasser. Alors, il y a question, par exemple, des équipements municipaux, des huées, du vieux mobilier du bureau, de vieux véhicules automobiles, d'équipements informatiques ou encore des bicyclettes abandonnées sur le domaine public. Afin de faire de la place dans les immeubles municipaux et réaliser le capital de ces biens inutilisés, la ville va procéder encore une fois cette année, comme chaque année elle le fait, à une vente d'encans qui aura lieu le samedi 2 juin. Le samedi 2 juin. Alors, à défaut de vendre les biens, ceux-ci seront offerts à des organismes de bienfaisance, recyclés ou en dernier recours jetés. L'encan se déroulera aux ateliers municipaux qui sont situés au 180 chemin Clyde à 10 h du matin. Et les gens qui vont faire les enchérisseurs pourront arriver dès 9 h afin d'inspecter les biens en vente. Certainement, ces biens seront vendus tels quels et sans garantie aucune. Dans cette optique, la résolution va être de la sorte. I move to authorize the assistant clerk to proceed with an auction sale of the bicycles and the obsolete municipal equipment held by the town for more than 60 days. A public notice will announce the sale and allow the rightful owners to recover their goods before the date of the sale, which will be held on Saturday, June 2nd, 2018. And to authorize the donation of any unsold goods to non-profit organization or, failing this, to any persons willing to reuse or recycle the article. And to authorize, as last recourse, the destruction of the articles which should not have been sold or given away.
C'est bon? Ah, secondé. Merci, M. Miller. Alors, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Adopté. Nous sommes maintenant au point 8. So, item number 8 regarding the MAMO grant. So, Mr. Miller.
Micro.
It's a five-year program, 2014 to 2018. This is, we've mentioned it before because they give us grants on our water main work, sewers and this kind of thing. And we've taken advantage of it over the years. This is our last chance to input updates into the program, and that's exactly what we're doing here tonight. We're just making sure we have our latest information in the program. So whereas the town of Mont-Royal has examined the guide relatif aux modalités de versement de la contribution gouvernementale dans le cadre du programme de la taxe sur l'essence et de la contribution de Québec, whereas the town of Mont-Royal must respect the procedures within this guide that are applicable in order to receive government contribution and confirmed in a letter from the Minister of Municipal Affairs. I propose to respect the procedures within this guide that are applicable to release Canada and Quebec, as well as the ministers, senior officials, employees, and agents from all responsibility regarding claims, requirements, losses, damage, and cost to any kin based upon any injury inflicted upon a person. That person's death, damage caused to property, or the loss of property due to a deliberate or negligent and stemming directly or indirectly from investments made by way of the government contribution. I propose to realize that the capital asset minimal threshold in municipal infrastructures fixed at $28 per resident per year of the program. And de former le memo de toute modification qui serait apportée de la programmation de travaux approuvée par la présente résolution, de tester que la programmation de travail s'y joint comme pour tous les coûts réalisés l'indique, et de prouver la programmation des travaux dans l'année pour l'année 2018, and to authorize the deposit of the grant request for MAMO and all other documents required by the MAMO required to receive the government contribution, and to modify the 2014, 15, 16 CWP if required, following MAMO's approval of work programming.
I second the motion.
Merci beaucoup, Mme Letty. Je demande le vote. Merci, adopté. Le point 9, ratification des débats. So, item number 9, confirmation of disbursement. Mr. Miller.
Right. Currently in the bank, we have $30,559,345 earning 1.78%. That percentage keeps on going up. Okay, je propose de confirmer, d'approuver les débours visant la période 1er mars au 31 mars 2018. So we have salaries and fringe benefits, $2,054,034. Suppliers and other payments for $2,220,000, $860. Financing costs of $94,745. Principal reimbursements, long-term debt, $809,000, for a total of $5,178,639.
I second the motion.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Point 10 maintenant, Madame Kennedy.
Yes, so number 10, it has to do with the yearly upkeep of our sidewalks. 7 companies picked up the call for tender, 6 submitted, and amongst them 3 were judged to be conforming, and of that 3 will be taking the lowest conforming bidder. Globalement, le prix de contrat en 2018 a augmenté d'environ 11% comparativement au contrat de 2017. Cela peut s'expliquer par une diminution des quantités de bordereaux et une augmentation des prix unitaires de façon générale. So this is just for sidewalks only. I move to authorize an expense for the amount of $300,000, taxes included within the PTI 2018 for the reconstruction of sidewalks, curbs, and miscellaneous streets, which includes, as needed, all accessory costs, d'accorder au plus bas soumissionnaire conforme, soit la compagnie Kojalac Inc., le contrat à cette fin au prix unitaire soumis pour un montant total de $276 854,05, taxes incluses, conformément au document d'appel d'offres préparé pour le contrat. To authorize Kojalac to carry out the additional side work, repair work for the unit prices submitted and within the allowable budgets of the operating budget for the widening of driveway ramps, public utilities, sewer, and water cut repairs, and to bill the residents $400 per linear meter of reconstructed sidewalk for the reconstruction of sidewalk sections such as driveway ramps upon their request.
I second the motion.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Still, Madame Kennedy.
Oui.
Number 11.
Oui, alors c'est pour le remplacement des réservoirs à l'essence aux travaux publics. La Ville de Mont-Royal veut remplacer le réservoir à l'essence aux travaux publics qui sert à alimenter la flotte de nos véhicules appartenant à la Ville. So I move to authorize an expense for the amount of $462,800 for the replacement of the fuel tanks at Public Works located at 180 Clyde, which includes as needed all accessory costs. D'accorder au plus bas soumissionnaire, soit la compagnie GMR Inc., le contrat à cette fin au prix forfaitaire soumis, soit $404 194,61, conformément au document de soumission, to award to Petrosur Limited Part 3 of the contract for this purpose for a total of $14,322.84, including the lump sum price submitted of $12,187.35, and including any and a supplementary expenditure of $2,135.51, all taxes included, for site supervision professional services, and all in accordance with tendering documents, and to use $325,917.25 from the accumulated surplus to finance a portion of this expenditure.
I second the motion.
Merci beaucoup. Je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Le point 12, maintenant, marquage de chaussée, so street marking. Joseph Daoura.
Ouais. Attendez, non. Voilà. Oui. Alors, le marquage de la chaussée des rues de la ville est fait au printemps de chaque année. La ville, malheureusement, ne dispose pas des appareils nécessaires pour effectuer ce travail. Alors, c'est pour ça que la ville a fait donc appel à une entreprise privée pour le faire. La ville a procédé à un appel d'offres public et électronique pour les travaux de marquage de chaussée pour la saison 2018. Dans le cadre de ce contrat, l'entrepreneur doit fournir toute la main-d'œuvre, le matériel, les équipements et la supervision nécessaires pour procéder au marquage de la chaussée sur les rues. Tel qu'il est spécifié aux devis qui ont été présentés par la ville, il est possible que l'entrepreneur soit rappelé au cours de l'année pour refaire des marquages suite à des travaux de voirie et pour refaire un deuxième marquage à certaines intersections critiques avant la saison d'hiver, ou d'effectuer certains ajouts à la demande de la ville. Alors, un appel d'offres public et électronique a été lancé le 1er mars 2018. Une seule compagnie s'est procuré les documents et elle a déposé une soumission. Et le résultat était, c'est les entreprises Jacques-Luc Inc. qui a présenté la soumission et elle a été vérifiée et notée conforme par la ville. Alors, dans ce cadre-là, la résolution va être de la sorte. I move to authorize an expense for the amount of $99,000, tax included, in 2018 for traffic line marking, which includes, as needed, all accessory costs, and to award to the company, les entreprises Jacques-Luc Inc., the contract to undertake this work at the unit prices submitted for the amount of $89,948.77, tax included, for the 2018 season in accordance with the tendering documents.
I second.
Merci beaucoup. Je demande le vote. Merci. Maintenant, nous sommes au point 13, fourniture d'enrobés bitumineux. Toujours Joseph Devra.
Oui. Les travaux publics de la ville utilisent différents enrobés bitumineux pendant l'année pour diverses réparations sur la chaussée. Le contrat actuel consiste à la fabrication et à la fourniture de divers types de mélanges bitumineux. La ville prend livraison des mélanges bitumineux directement à l'usine d'enrobage et la fourniture sera donc en fonction des besoins de la ville. Dans le cadre de ce contrat, le fournisseur doit fournir des mélanges bitumineux conformes aux exigences du devis spécial. Considérant que la ville prendra livraison des mélanges à l'usine, seuls les fournisseurs ayant une usine d'enrobage de type discontinu située dans un rayon de 10 km à vol d'oiseau du bâtiment de travaux seront considérés. Alors, un appel d'offres a été fait, public et électronique, a été lancé le 6 mars 2018. 2 entreprises se sont procurées les documents et dont 2 de ces compagnies seulement ont déposé une soumission, qui sont la construction DJL Inc. et la compagnie Les Pavages Chenaille Inc. Alors, selon la loi, la ville va prendre le contrat le soumissionnaire qui a présenté le plus bas prix, soit à la construction DJL Inc. Alors, dans cette optique-là, la résolution va être de la sorte. Bon. I move to authorize an expense for the amount of $147,000, tax included, in the year 2018 for the supply of asphalt mixes, which includes, as needed, all accessory costs, and to award to the company Construction DJL Inc. the contract to undertake these works for the unit prices submitted in the total amount of $132,465.57, tax included, in accordance with the tendering documents.
J'appuie.
Merci. Je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. So we're now at item 14, and I'm going to ask Dr. Lang.
Merci. 4 Chevrolet dealerships were invited to bid on our request for a new Silverado Chevrolet. Only Gravel de Cary Chevrolet Buick responded with a proposal. However, the bid needed to be refused since the dealership's authorized representative did not authorize the bid. Alors, je propose de rejeter la soumission reçue pour la fourniture et livraison de véhicules neufs, modèle 4x4 Chevrolet Silverado cabine allongée 2018 ou plus récent Silverado.
I second the motion.
Je vais demander le vote. Merci. Nous sommes maintenant au point 15 qui a été sauté. Donc, on passe maintenant qu'on a retiré à l'ordre du jour. Donc, on passe maintenant au point 16. So, item number 16, Jonathan.
Ouais.
Merci. Ça, c'est la fourniture et installation de 2 pompes à saumure à l'Arena. Les pompes à saumure responsables de la circulation du liquide refroidissant sous la glace à l'Arena ont été installées en 1981 et ont atteint la fin de sa vie utile. Afin d'éviter un bris pouvant rendre l'Arena inutilisable pour plusieurs semaines, la Ville a décidé de procéder à leur remplacement. 3 compagnies ont été invitées à soumissionner. 2 ont déposé une soumission et nous proposons d'octroyer le contrat au plus bas soumissionnaire. I therefore propose to authorize an expense for the amount of $42,500, taxes included, for the supply and installation of 2 brine pumps at the arena, which includes as needed all accessory costs. To award to the lowest tender, Simco Refrigeration Division de Toromont Industries Limited, the contract C-2018-41. For this purpose, at the price submitted for a total of $38,459.14, taxes included, all in accordance with the tendering documents for this contract. And to use the $42,500 from the accumulated surplus to finance this expenditure.
I second the motion.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Item 17 maintenant, le rejet de la soumission pour le lavage des vitres et fenêtres de la bibliothèque municipale. Madame Michel Sept-Lafay.
Oui, notre belle bibliothèque, là, de par sa localisation, sa réputation et sa visibilité, demande un entretien rigoureux. Dans cette optique, la Ville est allée en appel d'offres sur invitation pour faire effectuer le lavage intérieur et extérieur des vitres et fenêtres de la bibliothèque municipale. Le lavage complet se fait plusieurs fois par année. Donc, un appel d'offres sur invitation a été lancé au début d'avril. Nous avons reçu une seule soumission et malheureusement, elle a été déclarée non conforme car sa lettre d'engagement n'était pas complète. Donc, la soumission est non conforme. So I therefore move to reject the tender received for the glass and window cleaning at the municipal library.
I second.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Au point 19 maintenant, je crois que c'est encore Michel Sept-Lafay. Hein? On est au point 18, pardon. Oui, le point 18, Michel.
Oui, donc il y a 4 ans, la Ville a implanté une solution de téléphonie Mitel et le contrat de service de soutien et de maintenance avec le fournisseur actuel vient à échéance à la fin du mois de juin 2018 et le contrat ne sera pas renouvelé avec le fournisseur actuel. Nous devons donc retourner en appel d'offres pour un nouveau contrat afin de supporter et maintenir l'infrastructure téléphonique. Il s'agit d'un contrat important pour la municipalité et donc nous avons choisi d'utiliser un système de pondération et d'évaluation des offres à 2 enveloppes. Le conseil doit approuver ce système de pondération. So I therefore move to whereas support and maintenance services are very important for maintaining a reliable telephony infrastructure, whereas the town will use a bid weighting and evaluation system for awarding a contract for technical support and maintenance services for the telephony system. I therefore move to approve the bid weighting and evaluation system for technical support and maintenance services for the telephony system.
I second.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Le point suivant, le point 19. Encore Michel.
Oui, donc ici, on traite du contrat de maintenance des systèmes de ventilation et de chauffage dans les divers bâtiments municipaux. C'est important de les maintenir en excellent état. Le contrat qui est actuellement en vigueur se termine le 30 avril 2018. Un appel d'offres public et électronique a été lancé le 27 mars pour l'entretien des systèmes de ventilation et climatisation et les systèmes de chauffage à eau chaude et à vapeur. Ce sera pour une période de 12 mois, du 1er mai 2018 au 30 avril 2019, avec option de renouvellement pour 2 périodes subséquentes. Nous sommes en processus d'appel d'offres. Il y a plusieurs questions qui ont été posées, ce qui fait en sorte que la Ville a dû préparer des addendas et par le fait même reporter la date d'ouverture des soumissions. Le contrat serait présenté donc au prochain conseil au mois de mai. Donc, il faut, dans ce contexte-là, prolonger le contrat qui est actuellement en vigueur pour une durée d'1 mois. Le contrat est avec Neve Réfrigération Inc. Cette compagnie a confirmé par écrit qu'elle acceptait la période de prolongation pour le mois de mai 2018, et ce, aux mêmes conditions et tarifs du contrat actuellement en vigueur. So, I therefore move to authorize and expense up to $10,000, taxes included, for the maintenance of ventilation, air conditioning systems, and hot water and steam heating systems, which includes as needed all accessory costs, to award to Neve Réfrigération Inc. the extension of the contract C-2015-52 for that purpose for a period of 1 month from May 1st to May 31st, 2018, as per the current price rates of the contract, and to charge the expenditure under the 2018 operating budget, the appropriate item of that budget.
Et j'appuie.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci. Nous sommes maintenant rendus à la section urbaniste de l'agenda. So we're now at the urban planning section of the agenda, and I'm going to ask the chair of our CCU, Madame Kennedy.
Oui, alors il y avait 2 réunions de CCU, le 23 mars et le 6 avril. Alors, on va commencer avec les approbations ou les propositions d'approbation pour les plans tenus, pour la réunion tenue le 23 mars. Le plan numéro 1, 159 Graham, pour approbation des échantillons pour un projet d'agrandissement latéral sur 2 étages. Sous réserve, le mortier doit se marier au style et à la couleur de l'existant. Plan numéro 2, 582 Portland, pour agrandissement d'un 2e étage sur la partie de la 1er étage déjà existant arrière, balcon arrière et modification de la façade avant, incluant une nouvelle marquise et l'approbation des échantillons. C'est approuvé, mais sous réserve, de choisir le toit en métal pour qu'il se marie à celui du voisin en termes de taille et de style. De resoumettre l'échantillon de métal en détail du dessin de construction de la marquise, les proportions et choix de matériaux de la colonne. Plan number 3, 342 Sloan, for changing the canopy finishes, permit already issued, works already done, as built. The canopy to be left as is, no molding to be added. Plan number 4, 5470 Parry, for new signs, wall-mounted and post sign. Plan number 7, 268 Glengarry, for rebuilding the rear balcony as per existing. Plan numéro 9, 1143 Beaumont, pour modification de la façade arrière, ajout d'une 2e porte de patio et 3 puits de lumière. Attends une seconde, je viens de trop vite. Voilà. Alors, plan numéro 11, 175 Brookfield, pour modification de la façade arrière, des ouvertures et nouvelles terrasses. Plan numéro 12, 2200 Sunset, pour resubmission pour le projet d'agrandissement, ajout d'un 2e étage sur un étage existant. Plan number 13, 20 Montgomery, for modification to the Mont-Royal School's 2 entrances of Montgomery and Dunkirk. Plan number 14, 1315 Lucerne, for creating an entrance to the basement patio door and English courtyard in the backyard. Height of wall to be shown on the elevations or railing is required. Plan number 15, 325 Lazard, for modification to the openings on all 4 facades, subject to the details required for all composition and finishing to respect the existing of the blocked openings. Plan number 16, 1560 Laird, for modification to the St. Clement East School facade, new brick and fenestration for the following facades: corner Laird Beverly and rear corner to Jasper, subject to details of brick and weathered mortar joints slanted profile as per existing building. Et d'approuver les plans d'implantation pour la réunion le 6 avril 2018. Plan numéro 1, 215 Lazard, pour installation d'une pluie-lumière sur la partie plate du toit. Plan numéro 3, 32 Palmerston, pour démolir le solarium arrière existant et reconstruire un agrandissement au même endroit. Modification des ouvertures, nouvelle pergola et terrasse en pavillonnier au sol sur la façade arrière. Approbation de l'échantillon aluminium dark bronze. Plan numéro 4, 30 Brittany, pour dossier pad, modification accès au balcon, enlever porte patio pour le remplacer par une porte simple avec fenêtre, sous réserve de poser de l'aluminium brun sous la fenêtre. Plan number 7A, 4300 Côte-de-Liesse, for new entrance door, and plan number 7B, 4300 Côte-de-Liesse, for wall-mounted sign already installed. Plan number 8, 2210 Pitt, for modification to the front facade by installing Gentech coating and approval of samples, subject to the option of number 2. Plan number 9, 112 Lockhart, for modification to an opening to install a new patio door at the rear. Plan numéro 10, à 5475 Royal Suite 115, pour enseigne murale. Plan numéro 11, 465 Vivienne, pour balcon existant et rénover et construire un toit au-dessus. Suggère un auvent rétractable pour conserver la luminosité à l'intérieur de la maison. Plan numéro 12, 90 Devonshire, pour enseigne murale. Plan numéro 14, 25 Palmerston, pour modification des ouvertures pour un permis déjà émis en 2017. Plan number 15, 280 Appin for addition above the garage and approval of sample board, subject to simplifying the modulation, which seems overwhelming, to take inspiration from the back. Plan number 18, 2262 Fulton for demolishing the existing rear solarium and rebuilding an addition on the same foundations, covering the existing deck with wood and installing a new metal railing. Plan numéro 1947 Henley pour modification des ouvertures pour un projet déjà approuvé et permis émis, ajout d'un deuxième étage sur un agrandissement déjà existant dans le cours arrière. Plan numéro 24, 154 Carlisle pour agrandissement arrière sur un étage et approbation de l'échantillon aluminium Gentech Antique Brown, sous réserve de fournir le détail de fini d'aluminium. Plan number 25, 5890 Andover for post sign replacing an existing structure. Plan number 26, 111 Fernley for rear deck. Plan number 28, 275 Vivian for approval of a rear deck for a landscaping pool and fence project. Plan number 29, 524 Chester for rear deck. Plan numéro 31, 1590 Rockland pour approbation d'une terrasse à l'arrière pour un projet d'aménagement piscine et clôture. And to refuse the following plans from the meeting held on March the 23rd. Plan number 8, 139 Lazard for two-story rear addition and building a side garage. Refused for the following reasons: site elevation to be preserved as much as possible. Follow the PIIA guidelines for Phase 1 homes. Complete elevations to be shown with the neighbor's side as well. Garage volume to be set back minimally past the midline of the house. Plan numéro 10, 119 Dunray pour agrandissement à l'arrière au-dessus du garage et un porche vestibule à l'avant. C'est refusé pour les raisons suivantes. Les commentaires sont maintenus concernant le style et la forme de l'agrandissement dessus du garage. Le porche doit être conforme au règlement concernant les ajouts avant. Il est fortement suggéré d'avoir recours à un architecte pour résoudre les problèmes de conception de ce projet. Plan numéro 17, 1011 McNaughton pour démolition et la reconstruction du garage existant, plus l'ajout d'un étage au-dessus du garage et un agrandissement de 2 étages à l'arrière. C'est refusé pour les raisons suivantes. Les commentaires précédents ne sont pas respectés. Le garage doit être reculé comme existant et le volume vers l'arrière de la propriété doit être retravaillé. Les couleurs sont à revoir pour les tons plus clairs. Doit respecter le PIA. Plan number 19, 2110 Athlone for modification to the issued permit. Modifications to the front facade openings and to the front canopy. Work already done. Refused as built for the following reasons. The canopy is to be rebuilt as per original length and thickness. Plan number 21, 170 Geneva for modifications to the approved plans. Changing the exterior sidings from stone and stucco to brick and stone. Refused for the following reasons. The Georgian architecture being proposed is not pure in its style, and when comparing to the approved plans, the existing home leans more to the approved style than to the Georgian. As previously mentioned, the approved project is more charming and respects its original architecture and fits better into the existing streetscape. Though the Georgian is a Phase 2 style, the existing structure adapts better with the approved style, and the architecture is a better project. Plan numéro 22, 115 Dunray pour agrandissement arrière sur 2 étages. C'est refusé pour les raisons suivantes. Même si sa couleur est maintenant plus claire, la forme n'a pas changé et le nouveau volume domine toujours la maison existante. Et il y a toujours un manque d'équilibre entre les deux. Il faut retravailler s'il est désiré de conserver le style contemporain. Une meilleure transition et intégration sont nécessaires. And to refuse from the following plans from the April 6th meeting, we're almost there. Plan numéro 6, 355 Beverly pour agrandissement arrière de 2 étages. C'est refusé pour les raisons suivantes. Le retrait proposé est apprécié, mais l'agrandissement proposé et ses détails ne respectent pas la maison existante. Plan numéro 16, 1190 Dunvegan pour changement de revêtement de toiture en métal. C'est refusé pour les raisons suivantes. La maison a une grande valeur architecturale et le matériel proposé pour le toit ne s'intègre pas bien. Le charme de la maison va être réduit. Les lignes horizontales de revêtement proposées sont trop fortes et visibles, ainsi que la finition du bord des lucarnes et du toit. Ce produit a été installé à un autre endroit et le résultat nous confirme que ce n'est pas un bon choix pour cette maison. Plan number 17, for 50 Keniston for installing columns with light in the front yard. Refused for the following reasons. There are enough columns in the front of the home. Adding new columns will unnecessarily overcharge the front. Plan number 20, 231 Lazard for addition and modifications to the existing facades. Refused for the following reasons. The box design to the back must be broken. Colors and material only amplify it. Plan number 21, 139 Lazard for two-story rear addition and side addition by adding a side garage with one floor above. Refused for the following reasons. Garage enlargement, particularly. The side facade is the signature of the house, and the proposed expansion of the garage distorts the facade and the entrance of the house. The enlargement is too square. The acrylic modulation is too institutional, and the character of the main volume must be respected. Rear addition. The addition must match the semi-detached home. The addition itself does not integrate with this existing house nor its neighbor. Plan numéro 23, 2245 Seneca pour modification de la façade principale, changer le revêtement de briques en pierre. C'est refusé pour la raison suivante. Le projet ne s'intègre pas à l'architecture des maisons avoisinantes. L'allongement de la façade de garage n'apporte rien à la maison. La pierre proposée est inappropriée pour ce projet. Les exemples de fini montrés comme exemple étaient installés sur les multifamiliales et non des projets unifamiliales. Les fenêtres au deuxième étage sont trop grandes. C'est un type de projet qui pourrait s'intégrer sur un boulevard, mais pas sur une rue résidentielle comme Seneca. Plan numéro 27, 1011 McNaughton pour démolition et reconstruction du garage existant, plus ajout d'un étage au-dessus du garage et agrandissement des deux étages à l'arrière. C'est refusé pour les raisons suivantes. Les interventions proposées sur l'avant sont dans la bonne direction. Le toit de l'agrandissement latéral doit être rabaissé d'au moins 12 pouces parce qu'il s'agit d'un volume secondaire. L'agrandissement arrière est à revoir et ne s'intègre pas à la maison existante ni au jumelé de voisins jumelés. Fournir l'élévation arrière avec le voisin jumelé. Les deux portes à l'arrière sont hors échelle. Fournir des détails sur les finis et l'ensemble de la maison. And plan number 30, 1210 Lucerne, for new glass and aluminum pergola under an existing concrete balcony to the rear. Refused for the following reasons. The project does not integrate with the house and the quality of construction of the residences in town of Mont-Royal.
I second the motion.
Merci beaucoup, Mme Kennedy. Merci, Mme Letty. Je demande le vote. Merci. We're now at item number 21. Alors, la ligne 21. John Miller?
Right. This resolution has to do with what is known as the welcome tax. And in this, we're increasing the rate on the welcome tax. In June of last year, the Quebec government gave municipalities the authority to increase the transfer rate on the sales of properties. This change has been in effect in the city of Montreal since 2008. In TMR, the increased rate affects sales higher than $500,000. So rate increases from 1.5% to 2% on transfers of values over $500,000 and 2.5% on the portion over $1 million. So, whereas in accordance with Section 356 of the Cities and Towns Act, Bylaw 1450 concerning the rate of transfer duties applicable to transfers whose basis of imposition exceeds $500,000 was preceded by a notice of motion on January 22nd, 2018, I propose to adopt in accordance with Section 356 of the Cities and Towns Act, Bylaw number 1450, concerning the rate of transfer duties applicable to transfers whose basis of imposition exceeds $500,000.
J'appuie la proposition.
Merci beaucoup. Je demande le vote. Merci. Adopté. Le point suivant, rapport sur les décisions prises par le conseil d'agglomération. J'y étais évidemment le mois dernier. On est vraiment dans un début de mandat. Tout est assez tranquille, les dossiers. Nous, on a des agendas assez petits lors des conseils d'agglo actuellement. Donc, la nouvelle administration de la mairesse Plante est en train de mettre en place toute leur politique qu'ils souhaitent faire. Donc, quelques notes ici. On a eu le dépôt du bilan annuel 2017 sur la qualité de l'eau potable. Vous savez que c'est l'agglomération qui est en charge de produire et de distribuer l'eau potable sur l'agglomération, sur l'île de Montréal. Alors, Ville de Mont-Royal, on achète l'eau à Montréal pour ensuite la redistribuer à nos citoyens. We had some approval of agreement with the Ministère des Affaires municipales for various grants, so water works, sewer works. Maybe something really small, but who show quite well what kind of a new administration we have in Montreal. They pass a resolution, an agreement to reduce the number of parking for elected people. They're asking people to take their bike to go to the meetings. So they took off 14 parking spots at City Hall, and they sold, I think, 3 out of 6 limo that they had, and they're asking people to take their bike or collective transport. The mayor, Madame Valérie Plante, has already said that by this month she's going to take her bike to come work. So that's what we call walking the... walk the talk. Walk the talk. Lead by example. Thank you, Jonathan. Alors voilà, donc il y aura il y aura un conseil d'agglomération cette semaine. Et il fera plaisir de vous représenter et d'en faire rapport le mois prochain. Alors pour cette rencontre, j'ai besoin d'une orientation du conseil d'agglo. Je vais demander à Mme Letty.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Je propose de mandater le maire ou son représentant à assister à la séance ordinaire du conseil d'agglomération du 26 avril 2018 afin de prendre toutes les décisions dans l'intérêt supérieur de la ville de Mont-Royal.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Nous sommes maintenant au point Varia, so we're now at Varia. I'm going to start with Mr. Miller.
Okay, we have a couple of things. One, we have speed limits in the town. 40 kilometers an hour on boulevards, 30 kilometers an hour on other roads and zoned areas like schools. One of the problems we have is that a lot of people are just not following them. Never mind not following them, they don't stop at stop signs either. And we're finding that we've had an increase in accidents on Graham. We've had people that going along Morris and Lazard, they go right through the stop sign and crash into a car. And we also have the people on bicycles who really don't stop anyways. It seems that when we hand out speeding tickets, about 70% of the people who get speeding tickets are Town of Mont-Royal residents. So the difficulty is we're pleading with you, please try to respect the speed limits, particularly in the school areas. The school areas is really important. Also, to keep in mind, on the 21st of May, the town offices will be closed for the Journée Nationale des Patriotes, or Victoria Day, however you wish to call it. And we also were sending out the second installment of your tax bill is now due. I received mine, I think, Friday, so probably most of you have got them by now, and so they're due by the 29th of May. The last thing I'd like to bring up is last week in the National Assembly, Pierre Arcan recognized the work of our volunteer center in Town of Mont-Royal. You know, we have this volunteer center that does a wonderful job very quietly in the background. Unless you need the service, you probably don't even know about it. But they always need volunteers, and I see that Caroline Emblem's here tonight, and I'd just like to congratulate her, and I think that we owe her and her crowd really a big sense of approval.
You want to do a speech? You want to do a speech?
I will reserve it. Thank you very much, sir.
Congratulations. Madame Letty.
Merci, Monsieur le Maire. Good evening. I have two items that I would like to present that to you. The first one is the community garage sale, which will be held on Saturday, May 26th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the arena, and the address is 1050 Dunkirk. Registration online only start at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, April 30th. And the second thing is bibliothèque. Ils ont des différentes présentations et expositions pour les adultes et pour les enfants. Premièrement, pour les sections d'adultes, le mardi, le 1er mai, les salles d'exposition de la bibliothèque de 6h30, 18h30 jusqu'à 20h30 à la découverte du bouddhisme en français. Et s'il vous plaît, venez rencontrer Hélène Laforce qui a lié sa passion des voyages avec le désir le mieux de comprendre les autres cultures. Elle nous présentera les différentes facettes de bouddhisme au Cambodge, à la Thaïlande et le Japon. Le tout agrémenté par les magnifiques photos. Les inscriptions au comptoir des adultes ou par téléphone T514-734-2967. Et pour les enfants, on n'a pas oublié, le samedi, le 12 mai à 10h30, voiture à l'air avec les neurones atomiques dans les cas 24 heures de science. Et le mercredi, le 16 mai à 10h30, les conférences pour les parents, lire et s'amuser avec vos enfants. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Mme Letty. Monsieur Jonathan Mack.
Thank you. With the beautiful spring weather, I know I spent the weekend outside doing some spring cleaning, and just the comments I'd like to make with regards to spring cleaning and getting ready for the summer. Nettoyage du printemps, nous vous rappelons qu'il est interdit de déposer, de laisser ou de souffler des débris organiques dans la rue ou sur le trottoir. Si vous le faites, il y aura une amende de $150 et merci d'en aviser votre jardinier en même temps. Vous pouvez disposer de façon écologique les débris en les plaçant dans le bac vert de la collecte des résidus de jardin destinés au compostage. La collecte a débuté le mercredi 18 avril dernier. It is also prohibited to pour a swimming pool's wastewater into the street. Drainage of a swimming pool must be done by using a pump with a long hose long enough to bring the wastewater to the manhole. Furthermore, compost distribution will take place on Saturday, May 12th and Sunday, May 13 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Public Works parking lot at 180 Clyde Road. We welcome all Mont-Royal residents, and please show a proof of residency when you go there. Self-service, residents must bring a shovel and rigid receptacles, and there's a limited quantity. Also with regards to spring cleaning, la collecte de branches, d'arbres et d'arbustes s'effectuera chaque jeudi jusqu'au 27 septembre, sur demande seulement. Avant midi le mercredi au 514-734-4123. Veuillez placer les branches en bordure de trottoir, les bouts coupés face à la rue après 19 heures la veille de la collecte ou avant 7 heures le matin, le jour de la collecte. And finally, la collecte de résidus de jardin s'effectuera tous les mercredis jusqu'au 14 novembre, inclusivement. Tous les résidents peuvent également y déposer leurs résidus alimentaires. Par contre, un seul bac vert ou brun sera ramassé lors du jour de la collecte. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Aaron Kennedy, s'il vous plaît.
So, yes, the first is a reminder to all of our residents who are located on corner lots. Has to do with the site triangle. We're just asking you to remember that the site triangle in terms of plantings can be no higher than 90 centimeters, so please take that into consideration as you plant your gardens this spring. La semaine de la sécurité civile aura lieu le 6 au 12 mai sur le thème « Ma sécurité, ma responsabilité ». Ça, c'était un sous-thème de cette année qui est la préparation commence à la maison. Vous pouvez avoir plus d'informations sur le site web de sécurité publique du gouvernement du Québec. Et il y a une petite annonce de la part de la sécurité publique. Ils sont sur Twitter. Ils ont lancé le 12 avril dernier et nous invitons nos citoyens à abonner. Vous pourrez ainsi recevoir régulièrement des conseils de sécurité, des informations sur les activités et vous serez tenu au courant des événements qui pourraient perturber la circulation, entre autres. Alors voilà.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Joseph Daoura.
Oui. Alors, la première annonce, c'est concernant le Terry Fox Barbecue and Bingo. It's seniors activity which will be held on June 7. So, it will be a barbecue from noon till 1 o'clock and followed by a game of bingo. It will be food, fun, and games. And all proceeds will go to the Terry Fox Foundation. The minimum donation for this activity on June 7, it's $10, and the location will be at Schofield Hall. The second announcement is regarding Marche en Ville, Walk a Town 2018, which will be held on Saturday, May 5th at 10 o'clock morning. And this is for the benefit of the town of Mont-Royal Volunteer Center. Registration is for adult $10 and family $20 and 10 years old $5. It will be a barbecue free for the walker at noon till 1:30 in the afternoon. And the second and the last announcement concerning the tennis court, finally. Finalement. Les cours de tennis en terre battue ouvriront le 5 mai. Les terrains de tennis en caoutchouc du parc Mohawk seront ouverts depuis le 14 avril. Merci.
Merci, Joseph. Madame Michel Sitlacoué.
Oui, donc la lutte contre la grille du frêne se poursuit cet été. We're continuing our fight against the emerald ash borer. Si vos arbres ont été traités il y a 2 ans, il faut renouveler le traitement cet été. Vous serez contacté directement par l'inspectrice en arboriculture. Sous réserve de certaines conditions, la Ville remboursera 50% du coût des traitements. Malheureusement, il y a des frênes qui sont dépérissants, qui ne peuvent plus être traités, ils doivent donc être abattus. Et la Ville va donc rembourser une portion du coût de l'abattage. Les modalités sont décrites dans notre politique. Et la Ville va fournir au propriétaire qui aura dû faire abattre son frêne un plan d'arbre pour le remplacer. Pour tous les renseignements, vous pouvez contacter l'inspectrice en arboriculture, 734-4121. Sur un autre sujet, complètement différent, il y a fermeture du tournebride sous le viaduc Rockland depuis le 16 avril, donc près du centre d'achat Beaumont, et ça pour une durée de 8 à 9 semaines. Ce sont des travaux de la Ville de Montréal qui sont en cours. Ils sont faits conjointement avec Gaz Métro. La Ville de Montréal doit remplacer des équipements de son système d'aqueduc, notamment dans la chambre de régulatrice. Parallèlement, certaines conduites de Gaz Métro qui sont adjacentes à la chambre régulatrice doivent être déplacées. Il y a des chemins de détour qui sont en place afin de diminuer le plus possible l'impact de cette fermeture sur les résidents et les commerces avoisinants. Aussi, au mois de mai, le dimanche 27 mai, il va y avoir le tour à vélo familial annuel, Family Bicycle Tour, on Sunday, May 27th from 9 a.m. to 12. Parents and children will have a great time riding together through our beautiful streets. The meeting point is at Town Hall at 9 a.m. Departure from Town Hall will be at 10. Come join us for a great ride. Et, oui, dernièrement, notre ville soutient la Journée nationale du Denain au profit de la Fondation québécoise du cancer du sein. La Journée donc, nationale du Denain est le mardi 15 mai et les employés de Ville-Mont-Royal sont encouragés à laisser tomber leur tenue de bureau et à la place de porter leurs jeans en échange d'une contribution de 5 $. Voilà.
Merci beaucoup, Michel. Alors, nous sommes au point suivant qui est la période de questions. So it's question period.
Hi, London, 626 Powell. Well, I see the drunks down at the agglomeration are at it again. They plan to vote on $500 million worth of expenses, and I think this is absolutely ridiculous. Further to that, I started to realize that we have a situation that is really illegal with the structure of the agglomeration. Here in Mont-Royal, as in each municipality, the citizens of that municipality vote for who's going to be their representatives. The same thing is true at the provincial level, that each of the citizens of the province vote who's going to be elected. Same thing happens at the federal level. Guess what happens at the agglomeration? No vote. So where did they get the right to tax us? Basically, they didn't. The government did something, the provincial government did something illegal by structuring the agglomeration in such a way that there's a dictator and not allowing the citizens to vote as to who should be representing the island of Montreal. And I think this should be brought to the courts. This is totally, totally illegal. Okay?
Yep.
And that's my recommendation, that the town take those steps.
Okay, well, this question of representation has been raised very often since the creation of the agglomeration. It's Quebec. This question needs to be raised with Pierre Arcan and the government, the actual government. Personally, I'm not in favor of suing the government, because in the end, it's always the resident who's gonna pay for the town's expense and the government expense. So the resident's gonna pay twice. So I prefer trying to change things on the political way. We have an association, the 14 Demerged Town, and we work closely with the Municipal Affairs to try to make change on this agglomeration system. So far, it didn't work, but what I can tell you is we still work with the government and try to resolve this thing.
Has the issue been raised about the citizens having no say?
Yes,
Yet they're
often.
being taxed?
Often we have a memoir that we've sent to a brief that we've sent to the government, and there's a section on that specifically.
Okay, in terms of going to Pierre Arcan's office, I've left messages several times for him, and the total number of recalls of him calling me back was equal to the empty set.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Which basically tells me he doesn't give a damn about what citizens think in this riding. And I'm getting rather upset with the political ignorance, the way the politicians think that only they know what's right.
Well, I hear you, but don't be upset with us. It's not us.
Okay. Also, at I think it was 2 meetings ago, I raised the idea that all of the material that's going to be discussed at the monthly meeting should be put on the internet in advance, so that we have a chance to look at it and then raise points with you as to give you some other positive feedback as to what to do and what not to do. Because right now we don't have that opportunity, because we don't know what's going to be discussed until we show up.
Okay.
It wasn't 2 meetings ago, it was last meeting, and after the meeting, we had spoken about it, and I mentioned to you, and I had mentioned that I was going on vacation, so for sure it wasn't going to be happening at this meeting, because we wouldn't have talked about it. We did talk about it nonetheless just before this meeting, and the discussion with members of council was to the fact that there are items that are not to be given out in advance. For example, tonight, perfect example, had we sent it out publicly earlier, well, item 15 was withdrawn from the agenda. So it's information that is not public information until it is discussed by members of council and they have taken a decision. So sending it out beforehand renders it public, and it's council members who have the duty to make the decision to accept the recommendation, not accept the recommendation, take certain decisions. It is not a public document. The documents become public afterwards. So, and when we've checked with our colleagues in other municipalities, the information that we give to our council members with which they're able to make the decision is not public to, in other cities as well.
Okay, then if we can't do that, then I have to ask for one thing, and you've heard me ask about it in the past many, many times. My French is not as good as many people are because of the poor education I received in this province. And because of that, I ask that information not be presented in one language and then the motion being passed is given in the second language. Both languages should be used for both the information given and the motion being passed. I think that would be fair.
Well, we hear you. We're always trying to have everything bilingual. We're a bilingual town, but sometimes, you know, some documents are made in English and we don't have time to do the translation, and same thing when the documents are done in French. But for sure, when they are adopted here, they have to be translated in the other official language and the faster possible.
Well, there is technology today to help doing the translations. They need human oversight because it's still machine, not human being doing the translation. But there is ways to do the translation faster. So if you can't put it on the internet, at least have here on the desk information in both languages so that we could have a chance to take a look at it and give you some positive feedback.
Okay, hear you, and we'll try to do our best.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Bonsoir.
I would like to thank you first for your good work, votre travail assidu, tout le conseil.
Est-ce que c'est possible d'avoir votre nom et votre adresse?
Oui, Madame Marie-Thérèse
Oui.
Arakelian. J'habite au 1550 chemin Norway depuis 1977. Août
Parfait.
1977.
Parfait.
Donc, nous sommes dans le quartier depuis 1977 et nous avons été témoins de beaucoup de changements et améliorations dans la ville de Mont-Royal. Pendant les dernières années, la démolition du centre Lucerne pour en construire un nouveau carré Lucerne nous laissait présager un environnement plus adéquat pour nos besoins, avec divers services. Nous remarquons que la police de Montréal et la ville de Ville-Mont-Royal fait tout et contribue pour la sécurité des résidents de Ville-Mont-Royal, en changeant les signalisations de 50 à 40 km/h sur Lucerne, autour des parcs 30 km/h, en ajoutant des bosses autour des écoles et des stop signs. Mais nous avons remarqué, après la construction des condos Eden, Pharmaprix et le carré Lucerne, que la petite ruelle qui est entre la rue Plymouth pour se rendre au carré Lucerne n'a pas de trottoir des deux côtés. J'ai aujourd'hui des photos que j'ai prises avec un monsieur handicapé qui passe tous les jours au milieu de cette ruelle et des résidents qui poussent des poussettes avec les enfants de chaque côté, et nous devons jongler au milieu pour passer vers la banque et vers Provigo. Je sais que vous êtes là pour notre sécurité et pour contribuer à améliorer la sécurité des résidents. Je vous demande si vous avez pensé à faire quelque chose pour avoir un trottoir d'un côté ou de l'autre.
Oui, écoutez, ce que vous nous dites, c'est pas la première fois qu'on l'entend.
Oui.
Ça fait plusieurs fois. Je suis allé moi-même voir, et effectivement, il n'y a pas de trottoir et c'est un peu curieux.
Oui.
C'est une propriété privée. Donc, on ne peut pas nous-mêmes aller intervenir. Bon, attendez, madame, tu m'en allais passer la parole d'ailleurs pour faire le suivi,
oui,
mais
je
vas-y.
voudrais bien savoir parce que j'ai des photos.
Non. C'est correct.
Oui.
Je connais très bien l'endroit.
Oui.
Je suis allée plusieurs fois moi aussi. Donc, sur les plans, ce qui est approuvé, un trottoir est indiqué. Le trottoir va venir. Actuellement, il y avait des travaux pour le building à côté. Donc là, les travaux sont complétés. On a rencontré, les gens de chez nous ont rencontré la semaine dernière le promoteur, les architectes, pour leur en reparler. Et avec la température qui maintenant s'améliore, le projet va être complété. Il y a du terrassement
Oui.
à faire et le trottoir est prévu et il sera construit.
De quel côté?
Il va être du côté ouest.
Du côté ouest.
Oui.
Parce que présentement, ils ont fait un trottoir
Oui.
en pente et ils ont mis du gazon.
C'est ça. Non,
Et ce
c'est
monsieur-là, j'ai sa photo. Tous les jours, il doit se rendre. J'ai sa photo au milieu de la rue avec son fauteuil roulant. Donc, il passe et les voitures
Oui.
vont à côté.
Ouais,
Et hier, dimanche, il y avait un couple qui emmenait son enfant et l'autre de l'autre côté avec un petit bicycle. Et moi, je passais au milieu. Donc,
mais le trottoir s'en vient.
vous êtes sûr?
Oui, absolument. Le
D'accord.
trottoir s'en vient.
Je vous remercie d'avance. Pour moi et pour tous les résidents.
C'est bon.
Merci beaucoup. Merci. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, René Dufour, 129 Glengarry. Une question bien simple. Hier, en regardant par la fenêtre, je voyais plus de 15 voitures stationnées en face de notre résidence sur la rue Glengarry et le petit parc qui est juste en face de notre... Est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose de différent qui se produit à cet endroit-là?
Sur la rue Glengarry?
C'est la rue Glengarry. Là, il y a du stationnement le jour et la nuit complètement, et les gens...
Personnellement, je ne suis pas au courant de rien de particulier sur cette rue-là.
Non plus. Est-ce que possiblement un de vos voisins avait un party
Non,
ou quelque chose qu'il a demandé?
non, c'est des gens qui se rendent. D'après moi, c'est des gens qui viennent des condos, qui viennent stationner là, je crois. C'est la seule façon que je peux...
Mais possiblement, il y a
Non.
ils ont demandé
Je
un
comprends.
permis pour du stationnement non permis, mais vous pouvez appeler à la sécurité publique.
Non, je veux dire que je pensais qu'il y avait un changement, là, que vous aviez
Non.
donné une
Non,
permission
il y a pas de
spéciale
changement.
à ces gens-là.
Aucun changement.
Il faudrait que les policiers aillent voir là, parce qu'ils sont là pendant des heures et des heures. Là.
Ben, écoutez, le jour ou plus
le
la
jour,
nuit? Ou
le soir.
Le jour et le soir.
Et le jour.
Ben, écoutez, on va envoyer
Alors, moi,
la
ça-
sécurité publique aller faire un tour.
Ça nous surprenait de voir tant de voitures. On n'a jamais vu ça.
Ben, merci de l'information, puis on va envoyer quelqu'un sans faute.
Mais merci.
Merci.
Ann Streeter, 1302 Kenilworth. The mayor of Montreal made a really important announcement the other day that she wants to save a very, very, very important green space on the West Island around, it's
Lance Alarme, yes.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that the decision, it has to go before the agglomeration.
Yeah.
So will TMR be voting in favor?
We're always in favor of more green space.
Excellent.
So I think this decision from the plant administration is a good news because obviously we need more green space on the island. We're far from our 10% that we're
Right.
supposed to have. So it's very good news.
That's terrific. That's good news. And what are its chances of going through?
Well, the plant administration having the majority, I think it's going to go through.
Okay, that's good. Now, quick question. What is the reason for increasing the welcome tax? Should change the name.
Well, it's we should have another name. In French, we say droit de mutation. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It is in English as well. It's transfer taxes and
That's
transfer
right.
duties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's because everybody knows it under the name of taxe de bienvenue, and it's called a taxe de bienvenue because when it was put into place many years ago, the minister at the time, the finance minister, I believe it was the finance minister, but the minister at the time of the government, his name was Bienvenue.
Okay.
So it's so it became
Okay.
a taxe de bienvenue,
Okay.
which got translated as a welcome tax, but
Okay.
it
Now,
has
why was
nothing to do with
Oh,
any
okay.
of that. It's
Okay.
just
Okay. Now, why was it increased?
Well, it was, in fact, Montreal. Most of the island of Montreal has already had different level of percentage for the welcome tax. The law just gave us the same power as Montreal got,
Okay.
so we just harmonized what
Oh,
other.
Are you saving it for the sports center, maybe, or something like that?
Well, no, I don't think there's a link between one of the
None?
other, but still, a town needs to find more ways to get revenue. We don't just can have money from taxes from our residents.
Oh.
So the welcome tax is is used mainly in the industrial park. When you have huge company that's selling, that bring us
Yeah,
a lot of
you're
money.
also talking about homes over $500,000,
Well,
and which is
it goes,
most of them are in TMR.
of course, but after that, there's another step at 1 million and another
Yeah,
step.
yeah.
So
It's-
more,
It's still a hike, you know?
of course. But
Okay, finally, I've talked about this a lot. Construction. It's just gone bananas. Around me, it's a mega construction site. Every second house has a dumpster, and it's just, there is a house on Portland that was completely redone 2 or 3 years ago, and now it's being gutted, and it's insane, you know? There's the dust, the dirt, the noise, the trucks. And how do you control speculation? Because that is going on here big time. And I know that Aaron did mention that you try to understand who are speculators, but it's not right what's happening in the town. Can you control speculation?
well, I don't think we can control it.
A house that I know was just sold.
Yeah.
It was for sale for 2 days, bought by a speculator.
Clearly, the market is crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to buy in TMR, so that's a perfect scenario to have speculation. But we tried, as for the work on the houses, we tried to have inspector there
But what
often
you're doing,
and try to short the time for the renovation. So
but some of the houses are, you know, some of them are just insanely large, and they're not in keeping. It used to be clearly that you know, houses had to look like other houses on the street, but now you get monsters next to a little cottage, and it doesn't make sense at all.
well,
I mean, what is happening, what the permits that they're getting, I can't understand how.
well, as you know, we've changed the bylaw 2 years
Well, it
ago in
doesn't show.
2016 to increase the green spaces on each lot. So we
I
shouldn't
love my neighbor, but
should
he now
see.
has grass like this on the edge, one
Well,
side only. And every
I
every
guess-
backyard
I
is
guess
getting
that
paved
was
over.
built before 2016,
No.
or having his approval before we've changed the law.
Because it's,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm like a broken record on the subject,
Yeah.
but I don't see any changes at all. It's worse than ever.
Well,
Okay.
hopefully, the change of bylaw we've did gonna do change. We believe it, but we're in favor of green space. We're in favor of trying to control Monster House.
I don't
And-
see it happening.
Yeah.
Alan Feldman, 2817 Graham Boulevard. I have a
Bonsoir.
question for Mr. Miller.
Sure.
Okay, he won't be insulted, I don't think. Okay, the transfer tax between 500,000 and $1 million is now 1.5. Is that correct? It's going up to 2. What is it over $1 million now? 1.5. So it's going up to 2.5. So that's a big deal for the residents of the.
Up to 500,000, exactly the way it is now.
Right.
It's that portion between 500,000 and $1 million, and then a portion
But-
over $1 million.
But inflation and the low interest rates have driven prices up, so it becomes a pretty good deal. You want to sell a house for $1.5 million, you're talking money that someone has to pay, which is not good for residents of the town who want to sell their house.
Well, it's not the resident of the town who's gonna pay for it. It's new people coming in the town, and we're talking about speculation. That's a way we can try to maintain and try to
It's a disincentive, though.
to
If I have
sell.
to pay
No, not to
2.5.
sell. Well, to buy maybe,
Yeah, to buy it's a disincentive, which
but it's
works its way through
it's
the
not
system. To me,
something
it's
new.
a big deal. This is a
now
big deal.
all the island of Montreal has the same system, so it's not something new.
I'm going to check it
It's
out.
new for us.
I'm going to check it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Bonsoir, Romana.
Romana Lukashevska, 120 Balfour. Brief question regarding procedure on the modification or amendment of bylaws. What is the procedure on that? And can residents make suggestions? That's one question I have.
Well, I don't know how to answer. What kind of modification are we talking about?
Well, we'll find it tomorrow because as you know, I've been concerned about the noise pollution and lighting pollution over the past few years. So I am meeting tomorrow with Mr. Ramirez
Yes.
and with Sean LaBelle. We're having a meeting. In other words, long story short, I've done quite a bit of research on bylaws on noise pollution bylaws across Canada, and the law of torts, as it's called, but in Quebec it's the law of obligations on nuisance laws on private property as opposed to public nuisance. So I'm just wondering, I've got a document that's almost ready and I'm in the process of editing it, suggestions, and in particular as applied to certain situations that of noise. So I'm just wondering, I'll give it to you so you'll see what it is, but I'm just wondering how difficult it is to make amendments,
Wow.
even small ones as they did in Point Claire apparently, etc. Could just be a few words.
Well, when you change a bylaw, usually it takes about 2 months. Council have to decide to go ahead with the change. You have an avis de motion the first month and the adoption the month after. So the first step is to maybe meet your councillor and meet council and
Right. Well, I'll start tomorrow because I'm almost finished with it. I'm editing it and I'll give it to you, see what you think. The other thing, the remark about the property being the flippers over the years that we've been considered the property flippers. And I brought this out over many years that some agents, quote, real estate brokers, are still targeting certain citizens, such as senior citizens or people maybe that are living alone and all that, for the resale of their house at a lower price. And near my house, again, without mentioning names and that, but there was a house, a number of houses that have been flipped, and one of them just last week sold literally within 1 day because the owner was a, quote, senior person moving out, no heirs that I'm aware of, and the house was really undersold within way below the valuation. So we have this big disparity between certain houses that, and it will be flipped. I mean, give it 18 months to avoid capital gains tax. It'll be renovated. It will be flipped. Meanwhile, we're living with all this. On my street on Balfour, we've had about 4 houses that have been on and going. Really, it's unbearable in the back as well. So this is not a new situation. My question is, and obviously it's difficult to answer, how could we regulate or in some way keep an eye on certain realtors so that they are not targeting the older homes and the perhaps older people that are planning to move out and flipping the houses literally. Then they resell it in a year and a half and again make money. And if they're selling it at 800,000 or 850 for Mount Royal, that's nothing considering our beautiful gardens compared to Outremont or Westmont. I mean, that is, that's crazy. That's not right.
Well, it's my understanding that it's not the town's jurisdiction to get involved in the relationship between a property owner and someone who wants to buy his house. You're always, those people, the owner can always find help at the different level for the Quebec government.
They're not aware. A lot of them are not aware.
And they can come here and ask for information, but the town won't get involved personally in the relationship.
I understand that, but considering that we're having a lot of developers and flippers that are buying a property and then flipping it at $1 million, $1.5 million after renovations, we've got to be able to some way come in and to have some sort of regulation. We're talking about, you're mentioning people themselves, the owners. I'm repeating, a lot of them are not aware. They're older. They bought the house or got it through inheritance or something. They don't care if it's $1 million or if it's $500,000. Meanwhile, it'll be flipped again, and we're living with the noise and the pollution over,
I've never
and
heard
especially older homes.
I've never heard from example from other community who have put that kind of regulation.
Maybe
if
because they didn't have the problem that obviously we have.
Well,
if you have a newer community like Laval Saint Leonard or something. They have newer homes, so they cannot augment in prices, and through the major renovations that are being done here in Mount Royal. I think Mount Royal is definitely targeted by the flippers and the developers, and they come in a group, including the broker. Benefits because he or she will be reselling again within the certain amount of time that it takes, so that you don't claim capital gains tax. I think it's 12 months or 16 months, and then they put in the name of some, quote, family member. I mean, I've been watching this for years. I've been property owner here, as you know, 30 years, but in the last decade, it's really been bad, and it's accelerating. So it's just looking at this and going, I don't believe this, like a roller coaster, especially in summer. The
Well,
noise
I hear
is
you. And,
noise, pollution, everything.
We're open to suggestions. So if you are aware of any regulation in
And
Westmount
I
or
will,
West Island,
yeah, I will check it out across in other communities. The other thing too, we're talking about, we're living with construction trucks, cement, and talking about pollution. I mean, everything else is almost sort of redundant when you just look down your street and then you're sitting there, like on Balfour. I'm saying it's just been a nightmare, and as Anne Streeter said, where she lives, it's horrible. If you're unlucky enough to be on the street or in the area, your summer's gone, and that's not just one summer, but it's many. And you can look down the street of older homes like on Balfour. I can already see this going on for the next few years, and I know who's going to be targeted by the brokers. Anyway, that's an idea.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roman Boyko, 55 Strathcona. I just want to reiterate a comment that I probably made to you, Mayor Roy, and also city councillors. In the article, Philippe Roy s'oppose à une deuxième ligne à Mont-Royal. In a paragraph, you had La Caisse informe qu'il n'aura pas tant de bruit. Now, I want you to remind people here that in the June, when we met with the REM, I asked a specific question to the person in charge. Will the noise in the future be less than what the noise is today? He said, no, it will be slightly higher. So when you say the caisse affirme qu'il n'aura pas tant de bruit, it contradicts what this guy said. And I don't understand. Now, just make one thing. If they say it's going to be less, can you ask to let them put it in writing? Not verbally, but in writing? Because it contradicts exactly what he said. Yeah. Okay? Anyway, that's just a comment.
Yeah, well, when we meet them, usually they maintain that there's going to be less noise, but that's what they say, and that's what I said in the article. The case says that.
But it's not what they told me.
I know.
I asked them specifically to
but
what.
Still, what they have to do, what the law tells them to do, is they made their first sound analysis. They have to build this new train railway, and after that they have to do this new sound analysis. And if there's more noise, they have to make what the mesure sound barrier or atténuation.
Just be careful, diligent, that what they say is not contrary to what's going to happen. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Okay, you presented us the financial results for the year 2017, and we're talking a budget a surplus of 6.658. Out of that amount is $5 million because we over budgeted. It's the same $5 million that we had for 1916, and it's comparable to the $4 million we had for 2015. So that means in the 3 years, 2015, 16, 17, hold on, whoops. We created a surplus of close to $14 million by over budgeting. And I don't think that's correct.
Can you want me to answer to that?
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think we over budget. We were not allowed by law to have deficit, so you have to be very conservative. 5-6 million out of $90 million is not very huge. And anyway, the money we get from surplus, some of them we're sending back right away to the citizen. This year we've put 1.5 million in the budget to keep the tax the lower that we could.
Is-
So
Is
the
that,
money is just going around anyway.
is that justified that people that paid taxes in 2015 or 2016 sold their house, and then you take that tax to benefit the people in 2017? Is that correct?
Mr. Boyko,
Yeah.
we have a very stable situation in TMR. Taxpayer knows, usually we get increase from 1.5% each year. It's very stable. If you look at all the town or community around us, they have huge tax increase each year, and they have their tax rate are very higher than us. So we're really, really lucky. I think this administration is very conservative with finance, with numbers, and we want to keep it that way. And I'm
Okay.
very proud of the fact that each year we can make a little surplus, and we put that money in parks, on tax, on that kind of a.
No, my question was, is it correct and justified that people that paid taxes in 2015, 2016, 2017, because we over budgeted, they sell their house, and now you take part of the taxes they paid to reduce taxes for the future citizens? Do you find that correct?
I found it correct in the
Okay.
fact that we want to keep the finance of the town really stable, and we've done that for the last 10, 12 years, and each resident knows each year that they won't have a bad surprise like you see in Montreal, like you see in Outremont or Saint Laurent. Each year they know that they're going to have a very acceptable tax rate, tax increase. I think this is what the citizens want. Obviously, we don't see people gathering in front of City Hall and angry people. People seem really, really happy about it, and I'm quite happy that's the way we work here in City Hall.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mayor, I don't think I'll be very happy by being overtaxed in 2017, and if I was to sell my house for you to
Well,
reduce
don't
the
sell your
taxes
house.
for future. I don't think it's correct.
Well,
Now,
that's okay.
You're
We don't have to see
you know,
everything on the same
one
way.
thing about playing with figures and discussing figures, okay, you mentioned that the $5 million surplus because of over budgeting, over $90 million. You should never compare that to $90 million because included in there is $45 million for the Aglo. And that's pretty steady every year, except for the
Are you
wait a sec.
serious?
For 2017 and prior, yes.
If we didn't have
Twen-
any surplus last year,
I'm sorry.
we would have been
Can we-
hit
can-
so. No,
can-
no.
wait a sec.
Let me answer that.
No, you didn't let me finish
No,
my
no,
question.
I
You got-
really,
you gotta
really
give me a
want to
chance.
answer
You
that.
got it, Mayor. Why-
If
come
we
on.
didn't have any surplus last year, all residents would have got a 5 or 6 or 7%. We got 9.5% increase from Montreal, but we had money put aside. We were quite lucky to have that money to keep our tax rate stable. So
Mayor,
that's why we
we're
have
gonna find out.
surplus.
We're gonna find out the results in 2018. I'm talking 2017 and prior. Okay, I don't know what's gonna happen next year with the fact that Valerie Plante predicted a deficit of 4.5 million, whatever it was, and now they're ending up with a surplus. I mean, you know, let's not talk that way because maybe they'll be reducing it by 5% next year. Who knows? So what I'm saying is this. If you're over budgeting,
And we're not.
yes, you are.
No, we're not.
You said it in the report here.
Well,
There's $5 million less than forecast in 2017.
Find, please, one city in Quebec who target exactly. It's impossible.
City of Westmount,
Well, no, I
One-
don't agree.
$1 million surplus in 2016 versus our $5 million.
You know what? In 2016,
Say, you want
we
me?
built.
You asked me a question.
Go
Didn't give me
ahead.
an answer.
Go ahead.
Bill Saint Laurent.
It's,
Population, how much? 60,000, 80,000 people?
I'm sorry, it's not a town.
Well,
it's,
they still have taxes. They have to manage their own affairs for the borough. Same, you know, don't call it a town, call it a borough, whatever it is, but the
Oh, yeah.
same responsibilities. What was their surplus? Total, 4 million. population, 60,000, 70,000 people. We have 20,000 people, and we end up with a surplus of $6.67 million. But the part is this. The fact that you may underestimate revenues is understandable. If you want to estimate $2 million for the tax to be revenue, and you end up with 2.7, people understand that because you don't want to overestimate there. But when you budget year after year higher than the actual by $5 million, something's wrong.
Well, I don't agree. I don't agree. And I can give you an example. A few years ago, we were told that the Rockland, few years ago, the Rockland overpass needed to be redo.
Yeah.
Was 15, 16 million for us. We had surplus and we took it. If we didn't have any surplus, 2016, we would have put a huge increase on taxes to the resident to pay for this.
Mayor Aware, accounting-wise municipality, when you spend $15 million on a structure that's going to last 25 or 30 years, you take a loan out. You do not charge the citizens of that year for the $15 million. You take a loan out, and then you're...
Who's going to pay for this loan?
Future resident, the future years.
Of course, so that's easy. Let the future
Mayor,
people pay.
That's exactly what you do in your accounting here.
Look, Mr. Boyko, each month you come at this...
that's right.
And each month you say you don't think we manage
I didn't say that. I said to you that you're over budgeting.
We don't agree. We don't agree. Let's say we don't agree. So let's just agree that we don't agree. I'm really proud of the finance of the town, and I'm not ashamed to say that we had a $6 million surplus. I'm quite happy about it, and I know that people in Saint Laurent and people in Outremont must be very, very envious for us. And still, we make surplus, and our tax rate is stable and lower than all of those communities.
And it could be lower. That's my point.
Could be lower.
It definitely could be lower if you're over budgeting by $5 million.
Hopefully, in a few years, we'll take it lower. But
remember,
it's still one of the lowest in the island.
Matter why? You got to compare the $5 million to $45 million.
Well, no, I don't agree.
Well,
because we still have $45 million to pay that can change each year, like we had last year. Last year was the perfect demonstration that.
Well. Obviously,
this is not stable in Montreal.
Obviously, when you talk about the operations of the town of Mont-Royal, you cannot compare $5 million surplus to the $90 million.
Well,
you have to compare it to the 45, which means you're overtaxing the people by 10%.
Perfect. Thank you.
There was an issue raised before, which, from what I can see, the reaction of it.
Can you press the...
There was the issue raised before that from the body language of all the councillors, you didn't seem to know how to deal with the situation. That was the situation raised with seniors who are alone, are being approached by real estate people to sell their homes at ridiculous prices. Now, there's a couple things that I think can be done and totally legal. First of all, if there's seniors living alone, I think we should set up a committee that goes to see these people on a regular basis. I'm talking weekly.
We do.
Okay, so that'd be the first thing, and to give them some suggestions about if somebody approaches you like this, or don't take it because there's a problem. If you need help, we'll help you.
That's what we do here.
Okay. The other thing is that in terms of the flipping of houses by somebody buying it and then 18 months or 16 months selling it, I think we should be looking at passing a regulation here that says that if somebody buys a home and sells it within 5 years of buying it, excluding the possibility that the buyer of the house loses a spouse, like one of the two passes away, and they have to sell it.
How can you control this? If one of the two owners loses job or is being transferred to Toronto, how is you punish him?
At that point, I think we'd have to probably put in some mechanism. For
one of the kids need to go to a special school and they have to leave?
No. Look, this is just a quick reaction, but
Yeah,
I'm certain there's a way.
it's easy to think, but how
but I-
can you control that kind of
I think you
regulation?
I think it can be controlled through a policy and a set of rules that you have a committee overseeing and doing it.
You said that it's against right of property.
Yes,
Anyway,
but
okay, thank you.
there's also one thing else that I've noticed is that there are several times homes have been bought on two adjacent properties. The two properties are destroyed and a monster home was put up in its place. And that just occurred right near Dakin Park. And I'd suggest that that be stopped because that's the only way we're going to be able to stop the monster homes.
Well, this the new bylaw we did in 2016 wouldn't allow now that kind of a thing.
We'll stop it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Dernière question?
Oui, c'est pas une question, c'est juste pour ajouter ce que
Oui.
monsieur a dit. I think that there have been certain, I can do also some research on that, on certain communities that have followed up on flippers and meaning to see if this kind of activity they repeat every couple of years. So in other words, you know, as you were saying, there are circumstances such as death in the family or, you know, illness, etc., loss of job that requires people perhaps to reconsider staying in their home and selling it. But if that kind of an activity is part of their history, every few years they sell and they move on, they sell and move on, that I think would be easy to verify.
Well, I
That might be
personally
an idea.
doubt that the town has the power to do that kind of
It triggers
following.
something
But
in my mind. I'll research,
Please.
I'll find out. That could
Thank
be
you.
a starting point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Je propose de lever les séances.
J'appuie.
Merci, je demande le vote. Merci beaucoup. Have a great month of April and May.